Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Danny. I'm the owner of Amber and Oak, and I like to make videos about the behind the scenes of being a candle business owner. And today I'm just going to take you along with me throughout the week, however long it takes me, to collect different clips of doing different things for my small business. I'm sitting on the floor right now in my kitchen it's like the other half of my kitchen that we haven't finished yet, but it's actually working quite to my benefit for Amber and Oak because this side is super empty. We have this beautiful stone wall, and the sun, which it's not very sunny out right now, but when the sun does come out or the natural light comes in these doors to our backyard, we get some good light over here, and we are pretty surrounded by trees, so there is not a lot of great natural light sources on this floor specifically, being like the lower floor. But this is a great spot. I'll take a lot of product photos over here. So what I'm doing today is I am setting up to take a candle pour video, and I'll probably grab some photos of it as well, but I am making some of those clear glass pumpkin jars from Candle Science. I am going to be releasing them hopefully in August for the first time ever. I'm doing a beautiful, beautiful fragrance blend in it, but I wanted to make a video promoting it way in advance and just start getting that autumn content started. So I have set up kind of like a mock tablescape, not even a tablescape, I don't know. I'm just gonna show you how I do it because I've gotten a couple questions about how I take product photos and you guys are interested in seeing the behind the scenes, because as a small business owner with a lower budget, especially for these product shoots, you gotta get creative. I do not have replica surfaces boards, but I do have kind of knockoff versions of them. I will leave them linked in my description if I can remember. These have been great. I bought 2 packs of the same type so that I can have a white and a white background, or a black and a black, or there's like a mauvey pinky color and a slightly off-white, warm, creamy color. If you buy one of these packs, the way that they have the colors, you won't get a matching, but if you want white and white so that the whole box of your background is white, then just buy 2 packs. I don't know about the quality compared to replica surfaces. Like I said, I've never personally tried them. I know that they're easy to clean and great even for food photography. These, as you can see, they got scuffed up quite easily. But I haven't tried to clean it yet, so I'll have to see how they hold up. But if you want a more affordable alternative, these have been really, really, really great and handy, and great especially if you're starting off and you are on a budget. So being that I want to create a cozy fall environment, I put this picture frame here, I put some dried florals, and I grabbed our blanket from our couch, which is a beautiful knit brown blanket. And then I plan on putting this candle that I'm gonna pour right over here, but it really depends on how the light's coming in. I might have to shift a little bit. And then over here I have my, it's like a tripod that holds your phone. It has a ring light, but you have to plug it in to use the ring light. So I'm often not close enough to an outlet to do that, and I wanna use natural light. So that's gonna be for my phone to take the video for the reel, and then I'll use my camera to take some clips. But I'm gonna get the wax melted and then the jar wicked so I can put it in place and just see how that looks without the wax going in it yet, without me making the candle, and make sure I have it framed out, and then I'll pour and take the shots. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it. It's a very DIY situation. In this case, I want the stone as my background because it really creates a cozy environment. But if I wanted the whiteboard at the background, I would just prop that whiteboard. So I have one of the squares here and I have another square here, and that kind of makes it a longer table looking thing. It's not too steady. As you can see, I have it on a cardboard box, but this is what you got to do sometimes behind the scenes. I do think, like I said in my last video, I will be probably sending all of my candles out to a local photographer, and then she's going to take some awesome images, I'm sure, of my autumn collection just to get something different. But this is typically the kind of stuff that I will do to take my own product photos, or I'll go outside and take them in nature. I get my wicks out, and let's get the hot glue gun started because this is what I'm using to adhere the wicks to the bottom of the jar. I love Gorilla Glue because it does not budge, even if a customer decides to burn the candle way down to the bottom of the jar like they're not supposed to, this has been just the safest bet. How absolutely stunning are these jars, even without the lid on. They're pretty large. They hold around like 14 ounces, I believe. The tricky part is always the double wicking too, because it's like you want to get it the right distance from the sides, the right distance from each other. I usually stick to maybe at least an inch apart. That's what worked best on the tester for this. So let's see if I can get it in the right spots. I'm looking at there's like seams over here. Sorry, don't mind all of these little wax balls. It just comes off the tip of the other hot glue gun for the wax sealing glue. So it's the last color I use is red. So there's like all these blobs. I mean, that's the, I guess, the downside of using hot glue guns for things. It's like, it's messy. It just comes out all over your surfaces and you gotta pick it off. So I'm gonna put this guy in and pop another wick in. I'm also going to probably pour one autumn leaves candle here as well. Maybe the same setup, maybe similar. I just loaded up the soy light melter and it's full of wax, so I figured I'll just pour another batch of autumn leaves candles since I have jars wicked and ready to go, and then I'll pour one of them in the spot upstairs on camera. Maybe I'll switch a couple things up in the background, but I'll use that backdrop that I have taken the time to set up to get some more content. I normally will not pour with the label on because I make a mess. As you can see, look at the bottom, wax everywhere. So I don't trust myself with that, but just for photos and videos, I'll do that. And then I'll like come downstairs and pour the rest down here. Probably put this somewhere around here. I'll get the wick centering thing up here and ready, and then I can pour it and take some shots. It smells so autumnal up here, but I just wanted to show you the setup for the autumn leaves pour. I just pulled the candles and brought them downstairs. I had to use this camera and my phone, so I couldn't get footage for you, unfortunately, because I don't have a third camera to shoot that. But I had the autumn leaves candle here. I poured it. I'll insert some photos or video so you can see what it looked like, but it feels kind of cozy and different than the other one. I always start filming and then start a load of laundry at the same time when it's right there. And then I edit the video back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so annoying to listen to in the background. So I do apologize. If you can hear that, also, don't look at the mess underneath these shelves. If you can see it, no, you didn't. You didn't see it. That's a problem for another day, or a project and a problem. A little hack. This ToAuto melter is amazing. I've been relying on it. I don't think I've used my DigiBoil at all, actually, for any of the fall candles. It's just been this and the soy light. So this one's so big. I've been, like I said, relying on it for all my fall candles, but it does take a while to heat up. So if I don't start it earlier in the day and then come down when it's ready or do other things until it's ready, it's gonna be a while if it's filled to the top, which it is. So a little hack is just using the smaller melter, at least for the methods that I do for pouring, which is I do a double pour, so I don't fill the whole thing up. When I pour it, I will just leave a little bit of space to get smoother tops with soy 415. So I will wait for the wax to cool almost to a solid state, like it gets like milkshakey consistency, and then I will pour just the tops, and that's how I reduce the amount of heat gunning I need to do. I don't think this would necessarily work for everyone, but it's worth a shot if you're dealing with sinkholes and bumpy tops with pure soy waxes or even 464. I love a double pour, but I also think it heavily depends on the temperatures in your space, which is hard to control at times. And down here in the basement, it is always chilly. I'd always like need a little light jacket or a light flannel or something over my arms down here. It stays really cool, and we have central air in our house. So I think the cooler temperatures actually work really well for the way that I'm doing this. I think that if it was humid and warm in here, and even if like the heat's on in the winter, I do see a difference in the tops even with the double pours. It's just easier in the summer months for getting smoother tops for me. So yeah, it just really depends. I figured I would share that, just try it out. But if it doesn't work, you're not doing anything wrong. It's most likely just the climate, which is a thing with soy wax candles and tops. So I'm gonna fill my soy light melter up and all the bottles. I really went crazy making yesterday and I didn't film, but I didn't even worry about like cleaning up. I just tossed like all these utensils down. There's bottles everywhere. I just kept going and it did get a lot done. So I'm gonna fill this guy up. Might need more wax. I have some coming from Candle Science, but there's barely anything in my bin. And this will heat up super fast, so then I can at least start pouring in segments. Do you guys wear gloves while you're working because there's wax on everything, or do you just like wash your hands after and like deal with the feeling of like the wax on your hands? I can't stand that sensation, like and then like touching something else that's clean and getting wax all over it. I feel like I'm making a mess. So I wear gloves a lot of the time, but it's not aesthetic at all. The blue gloves. Maybe I should get like black ones next time, or like, I don't know, cooler looking gloves. I've used this blue plastic bowl since I started making candles in 2020 because it's flexible. So like if you want to like pour it into a smaller thing, I don't know, it's just my lucky bowl. My lucky bowl. Not pleasant. Plug this baby in. This gets extremely hot. You have to really watch the temperature. I've said that before, but I just figured I would remind you, if you haven't seen my videos before, the soy light melter really heats up. I've seen some people do, you know, like let it melt without the top on. I think that definitely helps, but I just keep an eye on it and I unplug it immediately when it gets to the temperature that I need. These tops are absolutely beautiful. I honestly don't even need to use the heat gun. Oh, sorry. Now I have to take them off because it's gonna get my waxy fingerprints on this clean jar. This is why I can't have nice shirts. Literally don't even have to use the heat gun. Don't know if you can see this. I'll bring it closer. I'm trying to brag, but this is just a double pour. That's amazing for $4.15. The rest of these look pretty good, but I remember when I was pouring these, I was also doing the jack-o'-lanterns at the same time, and multitasking for me is sometimes always chaotic. So I forgot to put the wick centering clothespins, and I was like, oh shoot, and I ran over and some of them had already solidified with the wick to the side, so I had to like screw up some of these perfect tops, like this one. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's, you know, like the line through it because I had to pull the wick. But for the most part, it's pretty good. This is Humble Harvest. Oh no, wait. Humble Harvest over here. This is Haunted Hayride. And then, yeah, over here is Humble Harvest, which I've brought back multiple years in a row, maybe like 3 now. But yeah, this is quintessential fall. Really great for Thanksgiving as well. It's a great like hosting candle to have burning. It makes your house smell really warm, like apple pie. So if you like gourmand I definitely love a humble harvest. But when I do pour this, the smell is so strong, like of the oil. So it's probably my least favorite to pour, but it smells so good when it's in the candle or burning. It's just like concentrated. A couple of these have like a light frosting on the surface, even though they don't have sinkholes. There's a few that do, like next to the wick, that I will need to go over with the heat gun. Yeah, right here, right here. A couple of these are really more affected by the sinkholes. Over here has a couple, but I would say like 70% of these are smooth. I go in and do a little extra on the ones that have the bumps, sinkholes, and light frosting, because sometimes one round of a heat gun pass can really improve the texture. So I ended up actually tripping the breaker. My computer turned off, both of the melters turned off, my heat gun turned off. I think all of those things on at the same time was just too much. Never done that before. I usually can have both of those melters on and the heat gun, so it was just like one thing too many today. So I kept the small melter off and I just let the ToAuto melter melt rather down. So let's do the pink one today. These are from Headley and Bennett, these smocks. So that melter is ready to go and we can start pouring wax out of it. Yes, I am stepping into this because I don't want to smash the microphone too much. Let's get it started. Uh-oh. I guess I lost my scrunchie. No. Okay, it's pumpkin time. I'm sorry for the chaos that is this countertop right now, but you know what? Everything is being used non-stop right now. So I'm gonna measure out my fragrance oil. This is a 3 oil blend, and I've been doing kind of like the same amount of wax in the pitcher for each batch. So I kind of just memorized the number of ounces of each oil for this batch size. And go by that. Oops, I poured too much. Actually, I'm gonna pour out a second cup right now. I'm gonna do 2 pitchers at once, use a hand for each cup. And this will take quite a while to get to pour temperature for the tops. Sometimes I leave it downstairs. I put my camera on it and just check it on my phone app to make sure it's not solidifying. And I will go upstairs and do something else. But I am, you know, staying in the studio today and getting some stuff done. So we're just gonna keep going here and pour some more. Just moving the ones that are already poured away from me so it's cleaner pour and easier for me to pour. I'll just pour the first line again. I've also started to plan my holiday collection. Usually start thinking about that in the fall, but this is like definitely a learning year for me, or like the previous years have been learning years where I'm like, okay, I need to get on that sooner. So I actually start planning and testing in the summer, like late summer, for the holidays. And I'm really excited because I'm going to switch some things up this year. A lot of times I bring back the same scents, and I will be bringing back 2, I believe, from previous years. I feel that my customers specifically are most attached to fall and winter scents and don't want them to retire. So there's specific scents I don't want to take away. There is one that I'm going to take away that I know is a bestseller. So I'm kind of worried about that, but I truly am personally just really bored of having that in my holiday collection each year. So I'm putting on my big girl pants and trying not to be scared. Oh man, I poured down the side of that one. That was gonna be fun to clean. And just make a little change and see how it does. And if people miss the old version and the old name and the old blend, then I can always bring it back next year. But I think this one's gonna be even better. I'm out of the chip clips, so let's start using these. It's like the very edge of it almost falls in, so you have to be very gentle with the placement and hope for the best. Now I will redo that pitcher that will sit and cool while we do other things. So I'm just gonna kind of get an estimate on how many ounces. I'm probably gonna need more than one pitcher of this, so I'm just gonna try to do the math and see how much I need for the tops. I would say my best bet is to break this up into 2 pitchers so it will cool faster. There's less wax in each pitcher, instead of one big pitcher of wax where the heat is like staying in there. So that's what I'm gonna do, 2 pitchers. I'm also taking sips of this strawberry and cucumber infused water, and it's very refreshing. I'm gonna work my way through whatever candle is ready to be labeled over here, and that's kind of how I clear this space a bit. I will work that way where whatever is ready to be labeled, I'll label, and then whatever's left that needs going over with the heat gun some more, I will leave on the tray and just clear it off that way. So favorite little tool, whatever tool, I don't know. Microfiber cloth gets all the fingerprints, little remnants of wax, anything, smudges. I also have rubbing alcohol over here, which is helpful if there's something that's like tougher to get off, but if the jars remained pretty clean after pouring, then I'm usually pretty good. Don't need to use a ton of that. Here are the Humble Harvest labels this year. And I don't use anything to center. I just have done this for so long that for the most part, I can just eye it and it's good. And if it's not, it's slightly off, it's a handmade piece, you know? Kind of a cramped labeling space, not really giving myself a ton of room. Sometimes when I have a lot of pours going on and there's a lot of workspace taken up by candles and jars, I will move all this upstairs and do this at my dining room table, which is nice and relaxing. Look at the birds outside while I do it. Or move like some of the trays to the bakery rack. There's always wax that comes out of nowhere. Like little flakes that I didn't know were there. So I just made a post on my Instagram story asking you guys to ask me any questions you want answered in a vlog. And I feel like this is kind of a risky thing because the timing may not work out. Oh no, yeah, because I'm only gonna be filming for a little bit longer today. So I don't know if I will catch the questions, but I will save them and answer them in the next clips of this vlog or in another vlog, whatever it ends up being. But I just made a story over there, which I'll do from time to time because I try to like read, not that I get a ton of comments or anything, but like I do try to read the comments when I can, or DMs, like my message requests when I can, and answer the questions personally or in videos. A lot of times they will be in videos because it's just easier to do that than respond to each individual person, although I want to, but it's something I realized that was like really adding to high levels of stress and like, I want to say like anxiety, and I don't know the word for it, but like last year I really was getting upset that I couldn't answer every message. It would literally just, how many times am I going to say literally? It would destroy me, and I felt really guilty. I just felt like a bad person. And the truth is, majority of people understand that, like, no matter who you are, you're not able to respond to every message that enters your whatever inbox or email, or it's hard to respond to everyone, and it would just make me really upset and I would feel really guilty. But I'm trying to work on that and just, you know, practice acceptance of like, I can only handle so much and I can only give so many hours of the day to working, and that is like part of working. And there's things I've thought about, like that is a lot of my time too, you know, and it feels selfish to say that, but really it's not, because this is a business. So when I can answer or help, I will, but when I can't, I'm trying not to feel so guilty about it. I still do, but I'm trying to think of ways that it makes sense for my time to help you out. And I know people do Patreons and like courses and all of that. I don't know if I'm ready for any kind of course or anything. I just like to be a friend, but realistically, I'm not able to give as much advice or help or tips as I want to, because I just don't have the time, and I need to keep my business afloat and like put my energy into that. So it's like, oh, okay, well, like if I created like a Patreon or some kind of option that was paid, then it's still, you know, my time is going to something as part of my business. And I don't know, even that, I feel like in this time of year for candles, and it's like a busy season, I don't know if I could juggle, but it's maybe something. That's why I just try to answer as many questions as I can in YouTube videos as well, because that's, you know, free for you guys to watch. And I love to help and teach and just, you know, be a maker that you can just work alongside and keep you company, even if you're not looking for tips and you have your own thing going and you're like, hey, I just need a friend to make with. Like, I hope that I can show up in that way for you in the YouTube videos. Oh, I got a question. Yay. So I guess I'll just keep it anonymous. This person who owns a business, it looks like, I'm going to check out your business right now. Okay, it says coming soon. I think you probably do candles, maybe. Doesn't say. But you asked, what is your process when creating a new scent? So I actually work in kind of a funny way sometimes when creating a new scent, and I don't know if this is just like me or other people do this as well, but for me, I will think of usually I will think of the idea and the story, because with my candles, I like to kind of story tell. It's kind of been my thing with my candles, with my brand, is just creating a little story. I actually used to write a short story for every single candle. It just became a little hard to keep up with that and all the other business things. But anyways, I will think of the name, and a lot of times I'll be in, hold on, I'm gonna go get more lids. A lot of the times I will be in Canva designing my label first. So say it's a holiday candle, I'll be thinking about what I want to name the candle, what story, what feeling I want to evoke, or memory I want to tap into for customers, and then I'll think about what that would smell like. So oftentimes for me in the creative process, it starts with the idea of the feeling that I want to convey when somebody burns that candle, and then I will think about what notes might sound good together and what notes might not sound good together, and I will start the process of going through my oils, or maybe even searching for a very specific oil through different suppliers online. I'll like browse the websites and see maybe if there's something I don't have that I would like to test out for the blend. I also always keep in mind different scent categories. I try to hit, you know, a gourmand, a fresh, a fruity, a woodsy. I don't do too many florals, but I usually try to incorporate different scent categories for different people's scent preferences in whole collections. That's like kind of just like a bonus. But in general, when coming up with a scent, I come up with the name and the story first most of the time, unless there's an oil that I get that I'm like, oh my gosh, this has to be something. But most of the time it is the story. Snip, and that didn't go in the garbage, it went across the room. Another question just came in, and it said, what advice would you give to someone just starting out? So I think what I would say is someone who's just starting out with a candle business, for example, is to take your time and have fun with it first, as far as like making candles for fun. Make them for yourself, for your family, for your friends, and give them out and have them test them and get everyone's like opinions, or yeah, just see what different people think about your candles and have them test burned by multiple people. And also just enjoy it for yourself. Make candles for yourself for fun. Don't push yourself and stress yourself to get the business up by a certain time or date, because candle making is such a science and such a I want to say journey, but I don't want to overuse that word because I do that sometimes. But it really is a journey of mastering your own blends, your own processes, because you can make the same candle as someone, but it could be a totally different candle, or smell different, or perform different. You could be using the same oils as them, the same wax as them, but your process is different, and the way that you do things is different, and you will kind of find your own way and your own tune of doing things by having the passion and the hobby for it first. I think you can really grow a beautiful business based off of a hobby that you truly enjoy, and your customers who appreciate handmade items, when they see that you truly love this and you are very knowledgeable about it, then they love it too. You know, they see that you really enjoy this and you're putting a lot of heart and passion into your products, and you're not just trying to say, for example, like just throw things together to start a business, and then there's a new business every like couple weeks, you're starting something new, and it just looks like you're trying to like get money fast, rather than compared to truly falling in love with the hobby of candle making and then mastering it enough to open a business. And you don't have to be perfect to start your business. I think that also another big thing, or a big tip to someone first starting out, is don't be so hard on yourself with testing, because I think it can be really tough when you're getting your head and you don't ever launch your business because you think your product isn't good enough. So I think that also ties into giving your candles out as gifts to family and friends, or having them babysit candles. I would do that with my mom when I lived with her. I would be like, can you babysit this candle for a little bit? Let me know how it burns, just to have different eyes on it and different feedback from people with different noses, and everyone's sense of smell is so subjective. So those are some tips I can think of. I definitely have so much more, but I hope that's helpful. Okay, I got one more question, and it is, can I buy my wax from Michael's or Hobby Lobby? And I haven't personally seen wax at Michael's. I haven't been there in a bit. I have seen the wax at Hobby Lobby. I believe there's like Makesy in Hobby Lobby now. So I'm sure it's fine. I don't know the brand or type of waxes that they sell offhand, so I'm not sure. I think they were selling the, I think it's an American something brand. I personally have no experience with it, so I can't recommend or not recommend, but I will say that if you go on Candle Science's website, you can buy a 1 pound bag of wax, I believe, for, depending on the wax type, maybe even like under $5. So if you want to just experiment with candle making, they also sell candle making kits. Multiple suppliers do. It doesn't have to be Candle Science. I just think Candle Science has a lot of great learning materials on their website that can also help you while you're learning to make candles, or just starting out, even if you're just doing it for fun. There's some like hobby stuff on there as well. I mean, candle making can be a hobby or a business, whatever you make it. So yeah, I think you could probably buy some wax from, yeah, I think you can buy wax from Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I think you might even be able to get it cheaper online from a reputable candle supplier, and it might turn out better that way. But if it's like Makesy brand or something else, I mean, it could be just as good at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I just don't have experience with those types of waxes from those stores. Okay, sorry. One more question in this segment right now. The other questions that come through, if there are any more, I will screenshot them, add them to an album in my camera roll on my phone, and I will get back and answer more of the questions if I can. But I'm just gonna cap it off here. I know I said one last question and now I'm doing one more question, but it came through, so I wanted to answer it. And it says, I know you use a different soy wax. I use 464, this person says. What wick types should I test with? 415 has a little bit of a higher melt point. It's a tiny bit of a harder wax than 464, so they're not gonna be exactly the same, although I do feel like they wick similarly, just based on my experience and other makers I've spoken to about 464 versus the one I use, which is much less common because it's definitely a difficult wax to work with, and 464 is a difficult wax to work with, but I feel like 415 is even more annoying to work with. I just have found my ways with it and I'm kind of sticking with it for now. But yeah, I would say like try out the CD wicks, specifically the CDN wicks, or just the CD line. So I have found success in that line of wicks. I do know it, you know, naturally has a good amount of mushrooming with the CDs, so I know that can be discouraging to some people, but it's normal for CD wicks to have mushrooming. They can burn a little hot, but not, in my opinion, not as hot as Eco Wicks, which I have not had success with, but I know people who have had success with Eco Wicks with their soy wax. I don't know if it was specifically 464, but I know that people do like the Eco Wicks. I personally prefer CD wicks for soy wax, and CDN versus CD is like there's a little bit of a different, I guess, like coating on the wick itself. When you're thinking about CDN wicks, which Hive and Honey sells, the flame can be a little bit steadier. They can be slightly less mushrooming. I'm still playing around with CDNs and CDs, but CDs are just, they're, I guess, easier to get if you're ordering from a supplier like Candle Science or Flaming Candle or something. Both of those suppliers, I don't believe they carry the CDN line, but Hive and Honey, like I said, Hive and Honey has CDN wicks, and they're great also for more temperature control, since, like I said, like CD wicks with the mushrooming and can be a little bit on the hot side. You can try a CDN if you have a thinner glass jar or a taller glass jar. But I mean, none of this is set in stone. It really depends on your testing, your jar, your diameter, your fragrance load, everything. So yeah, good luck. I definitely just have found success with my wax, which is different, with the CD wicks. And I know some other people who use CD wicks for 464 wax as well, but that's just gonna be up to you. And if it works in your wax, it works in your wax and jars and all of that. Helpful, maybe. Still have to test, still have to buy all the wax, still have to buy a bunch of wick series, still have to buy a bunch of wick sizes, but hopefully that's like a little bit of a starting point. All right, we are ready to pour these tops. Usually I check out the eyes to see if I've poured high enough, so I'm gonna have to turn these guys around. Ugh, they're packed in here like sardines. Just above the eyes, because the diameter of the opening is way like smaller than the actual middle. That's why these guys are really tricky to wick. Sad to say that the tops are actually perfectly smooth on most of these. And I poured like hot. It's just by chance though. Could have even been because it's like the middle of the jar. It was like enclosed in there as it was cooling. I don't know. They're smooth already. What's all this work for? Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna end this video here. I was gonna keep going and filming, but I might start a new vlog because I fear this one might be long. I truly can't tell because I know I filmed the other day when I was taking pictures, and I don't think that was very much footage, but I also always think that I didn't film enough, and then the video is 1 hour long. So let me know if you guys like a shorter video or a longer video. What is kind of the sweet spot? Please leave that in the comments down below, like what length of video you prefer. Do you get bored when it goes on for like an hour, you don't have time for that? Or do you like that? Do you watch it while you work or while you're crafting or maybe cleaning your house? But I've done a couple different fall things for prep, and I will be back soon with another video for you. I'm just gonna finish pouring this up, and I will see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.